I met a couple on a green tortoise trip to Baja, and they told me about Burning Man. I had never heard of it, and this was like early 2000s probably, and I'm up in Portland, and I think I did make some art for a project that came out, and I still didn't know what Burning Man was. And they told me this, and they're like, we need you to go. And so they convinced me, and I think it took me 2 years to do it, but like the first year was just riding around on my bike with my mouth open, like, what is happening? I don't understand what I'm seeing. But I've been with the same camp the whole time, which has been amazing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Just found them by accident. It was VW bus camp. And so it's all like Volkswagen people, not Camp Walter, who we love. And we actually used to camp next to Camp Walter until they got really big. But
that explains so much, because I've been burning forever, and I've seen VW bus camp tons of times, walked past it.
Oh, yeah.
And I knew for a while Walter was there.
Yes, we used to.
Can't not see Walter.
Yeah, Walter. So we would camp with like either kitty corner or across the street and share, because we also had our own mutant vehicle called Buszilla 2, which was two buses. Like the nose was cut off of one. It was kind of articulated, kind of looked like a dragon. And so we had that. So we had our little bus, and then we had Giant Walter next to us.
Wait, was it made out of microbuses?
Yeah.
Articulated double microbus.
Yeah.
Ah, God, how have I missed that?
That's pretty fucking cool. I've never heard of such a thing.
It was.
If anyone can send us pictures of Buszilla and Buttholes.
Does Buszilla still exist?
Buszilla exists on a friend's farm. Not, and actually he drives it. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was a labor of love. My best friend who has passed. It was her baby. We had a lot of fun in it. Our camp was. It was great. It was great having but it's a lot of work to have your own mutant vehicle.
Oh, yeah.
Almost as much work as it is to drive a Volkswagen.
Yeah, which I drove up. Yeah, I've had mine for 26 years, so.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So, but you can come into VW Bus Camp and you will listen to all our stories. Yeah, I just kept going. Same camp. I'd still camp with these people like off, like.
Were these people that you connected with off Playa and then collaborated with in attending, or did you
met them there?
Wow.
Met them there, and every year we just our family just gets bigger and bigger, and we camp each other places in Nevada and California and Oregon and Washington, and it's a great community.
That's a one-of-a-kind story.
It's pretty awesome.
Was there a thing that you remember from your first year that made you realize that this is something you're going to have to keep doing for a while?
Going out at night, I didn't have any lights. I think this was 2005, and going out at night, it was like being, you've seen the deep sea bells that go down, and you see all the weird lights coming out of the dark, and that just reminded me of that. It was just just being in this, and it was a lot quieter back then. And I just couldn't get enough of that. We just kept going out and kept going out. I can't remember if there was any particular piece or anything, but it was just the community. And I was blown away by how creative people were lighting themselves. This is back when, the EL wire was as bright as you can go. Mm-hmm. But just the creative. And then, I think we saw the guy that he rides a bike, but he's all dressed in black, and he has a trailer, and it looks like a guy that's on fire.
Yes.
I think we saw that, and I'm like, what? That's amazing. That's incredible. So it's just little things like that. Mm-hmm. And then the next year we participated more. Like the first year I brought apples from Oregon and Jolly Ranchers, which both were covered in dust and disgusting within 2 days. I thought Jolly Ranchers are really good when you're, it's hot and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay.
Not like loose Jolly Ranchers.
Well, they were individually wrapped. Okay. They weren't in a bag. They were just in a bowl that completely filled up with
the idea of a bunch of Loosies. You've just kind of got them in your bike basket.
It's not like they're going to get sticky.
I've got a gift, too. I went off the lump.
Some lint.
I think terrible snacks would be a phenomenal theme for Burning Man one year.
Everything is melted. Mm-hmm. Everything is...
Yeah, just tins of anchovies and like a lot of. I like anchovies.
I was gonna say,
but, like
like
I'm not
salty-
about to be handing them out to anyone out there.
Salty fish on playa is pretty good.
Balut bar.
Matzah.
Oh God, that's funny. Yeah.
Just like whole matzahs. Here you go.
And like right next to that is somebody who is pretending to make grilled cheese sandwiches for people, but they're just sticking a piece of cheese between two dry matzahs. By the time this comes out, it will be well past Passover, but it would be great if the timing worked right.
Edit quick.
I won't. I'm gonna have to see Beth for another 2 weeks. There's no reason to.
Do you want me to do it again?
No, you were
wait.
perfect.
Okay,
Yeah,
perfect.
you did great.
I'm
You
perfect.
did great, Beth.
I'm perfect.
Welcome to Accuracy Third. I'm D-Day.
I'm Rex.
And I'm Beth.
She's perfect.
And today on Accuracy Third, we're introing and outroing cat butts.
I'm really jealous that you guys got to talk to Paige. I was really looking forward to being a part of that interview, and I'm bummed that I didn't get to be there. But I'm really excited to hear about this incredible artist who made one of my absolute favorite pieces last year.
Beth, why don't you describe these pieces since you love them so much?
I mean, don't you describe them in the episode?
Yes, kind of, but not in the way you're going to right now.
All right.
Please explain why we're talking about Paige's cat butts as cat butts.
So it's a circle of like metal welded, but like open porous cats that are about like 4 feet-ish tall, but they're like presenting. Their butts are way up in the air and all of their butts are faced in a circle. So if you walk in the center of this circle, you've got all these cat butts that are about at eye level just facing you. And each individual butthole has an object in it that is the one I remember the most is the disco ball. And in my texting with Paige told me they were interchangeable and replaceable. That
Yes,
the
indeed.
object in the butthole could be whatever you wanted it to be. And that night last year, like I giggled and then I really, really liked it.
I kind of feel like it was maybe the first piece of art that
On our inner plow art walk.
on our art tour that like grabbed us.
Yeah, I loved it. It was so charming and cute and funny and neat at the same time. So it really grabbed my memory from last year. It's cemented in there, the cat buttholes.
Well, Paige is about to tell you, me, and everyone else about her amazing cat buttholes. Our patrons on Patreon, thank you, patrons. You are going to get a largely unedited cut of this episode wherein Rex and I talk about Jodorowsky for a while. Turns out Paige didn't know about Jodorowsky, so
So you guys just talked
we
about
just
that.
talked about Jodorowsky for a while.
Wow.
Listen, to be fair, we could have talked about Jodorowsky for a lot longer.
And to be fair, if I was here, I'd have only made it worse.
But that is a reminder to everyone who doesn't know what we're talking about. Go out. Find out what we're talking about.
Go watch Holy Mountain or Sacred Mountain, depending on which cut you get.
Yep. Rex,
Yeah, that's me.
in the episode, you and Paige are talking about Walter. Who or what is Walter?
Oh, Walter is it's the 4X scale Volkswagen.
Ah.
The one that's like perfect. Like it doesn't look like it's a modified anything else. It looks like it's a
It's
Volkswagen.
just the humongous one.
just
Great.
for giants. Yeah.
Somehow, by listening to the context in the room, and again, when I was editing this, I had no idea what the hell you were talking about. But I was kind of thinking that maybe it was one of the Skydancer sculptures, but I guess not.
No.
When you say a Volkswagen, like a bus?
A Beetle.
A Beetle.
It's that humongous beetle. It's a beetle, right? Or is it a humongous bus?
Oh, so now I'm kind of fritzing because there are both, and my confidence level has dropped as to which one I'm referring to.
I mean, she is a bus person.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, Paige. I don't know if we're supposed to share that with our audience. Paige is a Volkswagen bus person. And Paige, after you left, 2 days later, I saw my neighbor out on the sidewalk clearing some weeds. That's how we take care of our community in sunny old Oakland. And he was like, hey, who had the Volkswagen bus in your driveway the other day? And then I told him about Burning Man. Then he threatened to go. And I was like, dude, you can go. Like, if you want to go to Burning Man, like, we will get you to Burning Man.
Especially if you're willing to take that vending machine that's been on the sidewalk for 2 weeks with you.
So I just consulted the spheres. Walter is a bus.
Great. Well, that's on theme.
Yeah.
Big bus.
Big old bus.
Walter is a cute name for that.
Walter is a strange exception to the mutant vehicle rules.
Yeah, because it's just a car.
But
it's a giant car.
It is, but it's not just a car.
Like the car it is.
Yeah, it's not the car that it is. It's fully mutated. It's just mutated into a different
car. But very large.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, wait until I come out with a humongous Mercedes-Benz sedan from the 80s. 12 feet wide, 40 feet long.
Made entirely of licorice.
Can't make turns.
Can't make turns like this pivot to Paige. Hey, everyone. Enjoy this interview with Paige. I would like to learn about Trust Burning Man. Or is it Trust Burning Man?
It's Trust, but it was at Burning Man.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Because the cats.
Yeah.
It's called Trust.
yeah.
Yes, you guys have cats. You know what this means.
I do. I realize that your beautiful patch has beautiful silhouettes of cats on it. And I've just been calling your beautiful art piece cat butts.
Well, it's all about cat butts.
I thought so, too.
If you look a little closer, there's also a little tiny butthole in the middle.
A sparkling butthole. A celestial balloon knot.
Well, let's start at the beginning. Who the hell are you?
My name is Paige, long-time burner, first-time podcaster.
Paige, thanks for
Welcome.
joining us in the Shedio.
Oh, that's a great name. I love that. So, yeah, I've been bringing Big Art out to Burning Man since 2018,
Nice.
but I did start bringing out a cupcake car in 2014. My husband's like one of the original cupcake guys.
You're a cherry head.
A muffin. That year I was a space muffin. Started out as a devil's food cupcake. I had horns on the thing and everything. But the original cupcake people are really good friends, and they're awesome and brilliant and shared their knowledge like through the Maker Faire. They created a bender bar to make the paper part, the folded.
Oh, the core.
They actually figured out how to. They took
liner.
a cupcake paper, opened it up, and figured out how to scale it.
Smart.
Yeah, they're very smarty pants people. They're like very, very smart. So we shared that knowledge through Maker Faire and taught people how to make cupcake cars. So there's like 20, 25 cars around the country.
I'd always wondered about the sort of ubiquity of the cupcake cars.
It's a pretty cool idea. Everyone made them differently, like different ways of propelling them and different flavors. You know?
But all with the same genius wrapper.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it is pretty amazing. Just folded, bent, corrugated metal in an arc, and it just comes together. It's
fabulous.
quite brilliant.
Sharp?
So, yes. I think I have pictures of like every time I had blood pouring down my arms. Like, oh, this is really cool. Look at this. It's like, look at all that blood.
That's how you know you're making good art.
Yeah, I appreciate art that will lay you open.
Yeah. Well, the cool thing about the cupcake, I did a lot of it alone. Like I was living in Portland, Oregon. My husband was down here in the Bay Area. So I was on this list like, okay, I'm coming across this problem, blah, blah, blah. Can you help me? And they would help me out. And it gave me a lot of not great skills, but I felt more confident to start building stuff. Mm-hmm. Like I even got hired as a handy person at a startup tech place in Portland, and I'd fix their IKEA furniture.
Nice.
like the legs would break. I just faked it. I'm like, I can glue these blocks together. And they loved me. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. So that was my job for a long time, was just putting together, assembling, and fixing weird little things for an online banking company.
Few things impress techies like being able to solve hardware problems.
It's like, yeah, I can fix your couch. It was a sweet gig for a while, though.
Paige, I believe we chased you down to come on this podcast, yeah? Did Beth reach out to you?
You know, I think how this has been a long time coming, hasn't it? Mm-hmm. A friend of mine who is also a campmate of mine at Burning Man texted me and said, they're talking about your buttholes. Ah. So I reached out to you guys, you know, because I think you didn't know who the buttholes
That's right. We reached out to you not specifically, but through the power of the Mojo phone.
Yes.
I think we asked our listeners to put us in touch. Thank you, listeners.
Yeah. So my friend called and he's like, or texted, he's like, you have to talk to them about your buttholes. So I'm here to talk about my buttholes.
Thank you so much for joining us to discuss fuzzy anuses.
Actually, not
They're not always fuzzy.
They're not fuzzy.
Yeah.
You don't have to tell me. I have Dr. Worm prints.
That's true. Yeah, we have a fleshy butthole and a furry butthole now.
The little suction cup.
Oh,
Yep.
terrible, terrible little chocolate stars everywhere. So, Paige, describe what compelled us to bring you on in. What did you do this last year?
For Burning Man 2023, I brought an installation called Trust. It was a Black Rock honoraria. Woohoo. Thank God for that. It is a ring of 5 cats, big metal cats, like 10-foot long metal cats with their butts in the air. And they had 8-inch diameter interactive buttholes that light up. You could, I had programmable buttons. I had a propeller. I had one called the Boing Butt that had the door stops. You go boing, boing, boing.
Yeah. Remember that one?
Yeah. A disco ball, an infinity butthole.
Yep.
And we had enough where we were going to interchange them, but then the rain happened.
As it does.
So we were able to swap out a couple, and then we're just like, screw it.
Was there like a plasma disc butthole?
I so wanted to do that, but we had
Well, in whatever dimension I saw your art in, you did do that, and it was very pleasing.
it was the infinity butthole, I'm pretty sure.
Maybe.
Yeah. Where you just look in it, just like, like little glowing cat heads that go forever down the butthole.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah.
I was pretty entranced, as was the young child that was enjoying your art when we came across it with the speak and spell.
Yeah.
Cat butt.
Oh,
Cat,
that one.
cat butt.
So those are programmable buttons that you use to teach your pet to ask for treats. And I got that idea from my friend Becca, who she did that with her cat Scotty, who just passed away. So I texted her. I said, "Your cat is why my cats have talking butts." But that's my voice on those programmable buttons. I made one cat butt and then another one butthole, and the butthole never made it out.
Oh,
But I think the cat butt was pretty good. I had friends tell me that they heard people on far in deep playa going, like they had groups of bicyclists and someone go cat and the other people go butt. And I was like, yes.
It is great to have a call and response out there.
Yes.
what inspired you to create our giant furry friends?
I have cats. I have a lot of cats and I see a lot of cat butts every day. The name of it, Trust, is when cats present their butts to you, they trust you. So, and this was my second submission. I had another one that I had spent a month figuring out, getting a really beautiful rendering and stuff for my friend. And then I'm like, had another idea. And this was the night before the submission for the grant was due. And I drank a bottle of wine and I laughed and I found like really bad free cutout clip art. I made this horrible thing and I just laughed the whole time I was writing about, everything was like every paragraph had butthole in it. And I just went for it. Like, let's be ridiculous. Cause it's Burning Man. It's like everything, I shouldn't say everything, but things have become so, kind of going down the very serious spiritual trail. And that's cool. But it's like, it started with a cacophony society.
It's a gleeful city.
So I'm like, okay, come on. Buttholes. That's hilarious. Really didn't think that would fly. And it did.
Oh, yeah.
The essay question is like 90% of your grade.
I think too, when I got invited to do the full proposal in my budget, because there's no sound. Technically, I didn't have,
No amplified sound.
No amplified sound. In the line item, though, it's like the sound of people laughing at interactive buttholes, and then at the description, priceless.
Very good.
So I really just milked it and had a great time with it. And my shop mates, it was so fun. I mean, we came up with, so with Burning Man art, you have to figure out where it's going to go after. Like, Bay Area rent is ridiculous. So it's like you've got to like kind of now think of where else it could go. And I'm like, well, what's the likelihood of a giant cat sculpture with a giant, I mean, like
8-inch butthole.
8-inch butthole with 2-inch. I mean, like it was heavy duty. You saw them.
Buttholes like dinner plates.
They're huge. Yeah. I was like, what were the chances of that going into some winery garden or, it's like, I don't know. So I came up with the idea of them being, removable and interchangeable. Because then I thought, okay, then we can make a lot of buttholes and have people help us make buttholes.
The Butthole Design Challenge.
So my shopmate came up with the Butthole Mounting System, or BMS. And we did a prototype that we sent out to get laser cut, and he put butthole in every one of the files. And we had the prototype didn't really work out. We ended up building something different, but we had a couple layers and we called them the butthole sandwich. And it was just ridiculous. And then all his emails were from where he sent them off to get laser cut. And they all the subject lines had butthole in them. And he texted me, he goes, I think I'm done with butthole. It's not funny anymore. And then probably within an hour, he goes, okay, I changed my mind. It goes, everywhere I see buttholes. And he sent me a picture of a potato masher that looked just like a butthole. So so it just goes on and on and on. It just keeps on giving.
Did you spend any time with your artwork once it was installed?
Yes. So with the this year that was all solar. And so I came up with the idea of wouldn't it be funny to have a cardboard box that looks like it was tipped over, and that one of the flaps would be what holds the solar panels. Mm-hmm. And I have a friend he's like, can I do it? I'm like, yes, because I can't. I drew him a picture, and he showed me, he made an actual cardboard box. And I'm like, okay, that's beautiful. Can we build that? He goes, let me figure it out. So it ended up being a work of art itself. Like he painted it to look like cardboard, and it had even a little shiny piece of tape, like tape, and it had a stamp, and it had and we put fragile fragile on it, but ways to kind of indicate don't climb without saying don't you climb. And so I would go out and sit out there and just sit there and watch people interact with the cats. And it was so fun because in the middle too, there was a podium that had trust exercises, and people actually were doing them. Just the trust fall, and everyone holds hands and you try to tie a knot or untie your knot, with your, you've crossed your hands and stuff. And everyone was doing the exercises. And so I would sit out on the bench and I would just watch and listen to people laugh. And it just made me so happy. And one night, the Pixel Blaze butthole, my friend programmed that. So it was on random, but I had a program on my phone and it had Wi-Fi. So from the cardboard box, there's a bench in there, and I'd sit there, and this guy walked up to it. He goes, man, if this was a butthole, it'd be pink. And I just boom, and I turned it to pink. And he didn't know he was like, whoa. And then he leans in and he's started clapping and yelling at it, hello. And he was trying to, he thought it was voice activated.
Spectacular.
So yeah, I'd pop out there because it was really close to our camp. It wasn't that far. And even when it rained, we were able to walk out there after it was not as bad because I needed to check on things. But we always stopped out there. My birthday party was out there. It was a blue moon, full moon that night. So that was, nice. And we watched the man burn from there. It was really great because I didn't have to deal with gas. It just ran all by itself. Toward the end, we had some, jerks that, spray painted crap and completely destroyed one of the buttholes.
What the hell?
And a friend of mine took so long making it. And it was a propeller one.
There's no accounting for people that think that because you made art, they can deface it.
Oh my God. And just
the amount of stunning graffiti art that we have in the Bay Area. And then some motherfucker just tags their name on it.
Yeah.
And
it was
what you have just done is important somehow.
Yeah. It was really, it was upsetting. And I just don't get the entitlement. There's just so much of that out there. So that was disappointing. But, overall, the cats, they seem to make people really happy. And that was the big point, was I just wanted to see people laugh and be giddy and to spend a lot of time and the way the lights were on the cats, they faced back. So it illuminated the people that were playing with the buttholes. So it was just like even more precious that people are just like, you know,
You can
glowing.
see their glowing faces
They're
of happy butthole.
Yes. It was really fantastic.
I bet you there's some great photos of people face illuminated, hands in a butthole.
And I know it's supposed to be all like, what is it? I'm like blanking on
Non-confrontational.
non-confrontational. There's the principle for you.
Non-denominational.
One of the commodification. But it would be nice if people knew what the names of the art pieces were or something. Because then if they do take a picture, they could share it with me. Because I would love to see those photos, but I just never get to see those photos unless the person knows me. It's a lot of times I don't get to see. I find it randomly, like, and I'll like, hey, can you send me that picture? Can you tag me? Can something, please?
I'm kind of half and half on it, honestly.
Yeah.
As a particular sort of artist, I was taught that your art piece isn't done until it has been named. And because of that, it kind of makes sense that all art pieces would have a plaque or something. But especially out there, it is so much fun to look at art and name it what you think the art spirit is.
Yeah. Well, then, because it's more descriptive too.
Trust is a phenomenal name and very appropriate. But we all know what the cat buttholes are. Shish Bob is very cute. But that's the car spike.
Yeah, that's also, it's not the name of that art piece.
The Carbecue. That's what I call it.
What was
Night at the Climb-In.
Oh, fuck that. Okay, that's fine. Our names are better than that. The Belgian waffle, they can say that's named whatever the fuck they want.
Belgian waffle.
That has always been the Belgian waffle.
Yep.
You guys have exported two things. We're not calling it mayonnaise on fries.
Urconia. It is called Urconia. Urconia.
That's not a word.
I don't know. I don't speak Flemish.
Exactly.
I get your point. I would like to see those pictures though, because it's, people were standing on them and playing with them, and it was a great experience.
Listeners who are good at internet research, please find as many cat buttholes as you can and send them to us, and we will forward them.
Wait.
Sight unseen. As many buttholes as... just 1 second, Paige. Listeners, as many buttholes as you can find on the internet, please send to our inbox, which, mind you, I don't check, and we will just send up a relay that forwards them to Beth's personal account, because she's not here, doesn't know anything about this, and we will also send them to Paige.
No. I met a couple on a green tortoise trip to Baja, and they told me about Burning Man. I had never heard of it, and this was like early 2000s probably, and I'm up in Portland, and I think I did make some art for a project that came out, and I still didn't know what Burning Man was. And they told me this, and they're like, "We need you to go." And so they convinced me, and I think it took me 2 years to do it, but like the first year was just riding around on my bike with my mouth open, like, what is happening? I don't understand what I'm seeing. But I've been with the same camp the whole time, which has been amazing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Just found them by accident. It was VW bus camp. And so it's all like Volkswagen people, not Camp Walter, who we love. And we actually used to camp next to Camp Walter until they got really big. But
that explains so much, because I've been burning forever, and I've seen VW bus camp tons of times, walked past it.
Oh yeah.
And I knew for a while Walter was there.
Yes, we used to
not see Walter.
Yeah, Walter. So we would camp with like either kitty corner or across the street and share, because we also had our own mutant vehicle called Buszilla 2, which was two buses. Like the nose was cut off of one. It was kind of articulated, kind of looked like a dragon. And so we had that. So we had our little bus, and then we had Giant Walter next to us.
Wait, was it made out of microbuses?
Yeah.
Articulated double microbus.
Yeah.
Ah, God, how have I missed that?
That's pretty fucking cool. I've never heard of such a thing.
It was.
If anyone can send us pictures of Buszilla and Buttholes.
Does Buszilla still exist?
Buszilla exists on a friend's farm. Not, and actually he drives it. So,
Oh, nice.
yeah, it was a labor of love. My best friend who has passed. It was her baby. We had a lot of fun in it. Our camp was great. It was great but it's a lot of work to have your own mutant vehicle.
Oh, yeah.
And
Never again.
Almost as much work as it is to drive a Volkswagen.
Yeah, which I drove up. Yeah, I've had mine for 26 years. So
That's incredible.
yeah. So, but you can come into VW Bus Camp and you will listen to all our stories. Yeah, I just kept going. Same camp. I'd still camp with these people like off, like.
Were these people that you connected with off Playa and then collaborated with in attending, or did you run into them
met them there.
Wow.
Met them there, and every year we just our family just gets bigger and bigger, and we camp each other places in Nevada and California and Oregon and Washington, and it's a great community.
That's a one-of-a-kind story.
It's pretty awesome.
Was there a thing that you remember from your first year that made you realize that this is something you're going to have to keep doing for a while?
Going out at night, I didn't have any lights. I think this was 2005, and going out at night, it was like being, you've seen the deep sea bells that go down, and you see all the weird lights coming out of the dark, and that just reminded me of that. It was just being in this, and it was a lot quieter back then, and I just couldn't get enough of that. We just kept going out and kept going out. I can't remember if there was any particular piece or anything, but it was just the community. And I was blown away by how creative people were lighting themselves. This is back when, the EL wire was as bright as you can go. Mm-hmm. But just the creative. And then, I think we saw the guy that he rides a bike, but he's all dressed in black and he has a trailer and it looks like a guy that's on fire.
Yes.
I think we saw that. And I'm like, what? That's amazing. That's incredible. So it's just little things like that. Mm-hmm. And then the next year we participated more. Like the first year I brought apples from Oregon and Jolly Ranchers, which both were covered in dust and disgusting within 2 days. I thought Jolly Ranchers are really good when you're, it's hot and blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay.
Not like loose Jolly Ranchers.
Well, they were individually wrapped. Okay. They weren't in a bag. They were just in a bowl that completely filled up with
I like the idea of a bunch of Loosies. You've just kind of got them in your bike basket.
It's not like they're going to get sticky.
I've got a gift too. I went off the lump.
Some lids.
I think terrible snacks would be a phenomenal theme for Burning Man one year.
Everything is melted. Mm-hmm. Everything is.
Yeah, just tins of anchovies and a lot of. I like anchovies. I was gonna say, I'm not about to be handing them out to anyone.
Salty fish on playa is pretty good.
Balut bar,
matzah.
Oh God, that's funny. Yeah.
Just like whole matzahs. Here you go.
And right next to that is somebody who is pretending to make grilled cheese sandwiches for people, but they're just sticking a piece of cheese between two dry matzahs. By the time this comes out, it will be well past Passover, but it would be great if the timing worked right.
Edit quick.
I won't. I'm have to see that for another 2 weeks. There's no reason to.
So what was your big sophomore swing?
Oh, I saw the cupcakes for the first time. We have a Volkswagen friend who was in a different camp, but so we went to visit him, and then the cupcakes rode up. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, what's happening? Just like...
In a phalanx. A flying V.
So the idea with the cupcakes was the lady, my friend, her and her husband had a pair of bunny slippers. So they had individual bunny slippers that they would drive together.
I remember seeing the bunny slippers.
Yeah. And so her idea was I want to make something that it's fun to do it in groups. So she came up with the idea of muffins. And the goal was to get a baker's dozen. They really like tried to figure it out, and they got them built pretty quickly. They were going to do fiberglass, and that didn't work, and that was that. And I'd never seen. It was just so clever because they just look like they hover. But that was back when the ground out there.
Oh, has the ground not been flat enough for you these past 5-6 years? Is there something wrong with the ground on the playa?
A lot of the cupcakes can't drive on it anymore. The one I built it over a mobility cart, so it's up off the ground a little bit. So I call mine's the 4-wheel drive of the cupcakes. And I can actually get over the bumps and stuff. But if you go too fast, some of them go pretty fast. And if you just catch the edge, just like, oh yeah, and you get shot right out the top of your cupcake.
Going ass over cupcake.
I rolled a go-kart on myself when I was like 6 or 7. Like my dad and I built a go-kart. It was like 2.5 inches off the ground. And still, I managed to flip it on myself in a parking lot.
You're a top-heavy boy.
I wasn't. I was slight. I have grown into my robustness.
Well, yeah, now you're bottom-heavy.
Thank you. That's too kind.
So I think, going to VW camp and being part of that, I'm trying to think, what did we do for interactivity? It's becoming more and more. We're trying to like think of other things that we can do.
Yeah, it wasn't such a big deal in 05, 06.
Yeah. So, but, just keep coming back. And eventually I met my husband. He was in math camp, like literally math camp across the street from us.
What? I would like to hear that story. I'm sure it's very romantic and incredibly cute. But what the fuck does math camp do?
Math camp, they have a bar where you can drink and derive.
Yeah.
They actually have lectures. People can sign up. There's people that work on like theories, and they actually have mathematicians.
Well, that's very cool.
Physics people.
Sudoku.
More smarty pants people that I love. They're awesome. And so they were across the street from us. They were also part of, they kind of combined their camp. It used to be Fast Furniture and the Group W. So, from the...
Alice's Restaurant.
Yes. Yeah. So they still have the Group W bench that sits out in front of the bar. But they were across the street from us. They were at 314 and E. Pi. 314. And we were 315 and E across the street. Our friend, who's also a Volkswagen person, is in math camp. We were visiting him, and then this Subaru pulls up with this little puck trailer, and we're Volkswagen people, so we would love to. We like, I could tow that. I could tow that.
I want a little trailer on my Rabbit.
Yeah, I could do that. That would work. And then they go, wait, I was camping with Omar. Go see who that is. Go see if it's for sale. So I go over to math camp, and I'm sitting there talking. So I'm like, I'm here to find out if that trailer's for sale. And he says, well, why don't you ask my friend Will? And so Will walks out, and it was the weirdest thing. I had this weird sensation. Like I saw him and my stomach just like dropped. I don't know why, but it was kind of like
hormones.
Yeah, I guess it was really funny. When I go, your trail's not for sale, is it? He's like, I just bought it.
Yeah, but do you hate it?
Yeah, right.
Will you hate it for me? There's
a whole camp across the street that wants to buy it from you. And he's like, okay, well.
Do you like dollars?
Well, I ended up just inviting them over because we have a tequila shot bar, or we did. Actually, last year was our last year for the tequila shot bar.
That's smart. I don't want people coming into my camp and drinking tequila shots and then being there.
We had it little set off out of the corner. It was good. It was a good vibe. Invited them over to tequila shots, and we had a spin the wheel where you put VW stamp on different body parts depending on what the wheel said. So invited him over, and then we were hula hooping. And so he not only did he drink a shot of tequila with me, he hula hooped with me, which is like, okay, that's good. But he allowed me to stamp his ass with a VW stamp.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like an afternoon.
And then I followed him home from there, and we got married 2 years later.
Wow, some real love at first sight playa magic shit right there.
We've been married for 9 years.
Holy shit. Chemistry is real.
It was funny. It was just like really easy. I think on my way there, I was like going, I just so tired of I was attracting very chaotic dudes where you could feel the swirl. It's like, no. And so the whole way there, I'm just like, no more chaos, no more chaos, no more chaos. And then I just met him, and it was like calm.
At math camp, the odds are pretty good you're going to get a low chaotic dude.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
if you
sure.
get a chaotic dude, it's going to be real formal chaos. I'm going to be talking to you about the difference between stochastic and random.
That camp was awesome. It was a good situation.
So it was the community that got you.
It's a community. I luck out. I really do luck out. I've got a really, it changed my life, basically. It changed my life, basically. So found out about it, went and checked it out. Like, okay, this is cool. I can keep doing this. Learned how to hula hoop. Ended up falling in love with hula hooping. Became a professional instructor, performer.
Really?
Yeah.
Can you do the thing where you hula hoop and then like you put your arm in it and then you bring it up over your head and it's still hula hooping?
Yeah.
And then you bring it back down?
Yeah.
That's pretty fucking
I can
cool.
do that. And I
That's
can
a
do
cool move.
I can do that with fire.
I wouldn't do that. That sounds really dangerous.
This guy's like, meet somebody who can juggle and be like, can you do it with balls and clubs?
Well, obviously 3 of each, but like, well, what about 4s or 5s? How about if you're juggling and sometimes you bounce a ball on the ground? Okay, this isn't a juggling podcast. That's the other podcast.
I'm always impressed when they can throw a stapler in there.
Yeah, when you have something that's a different weight than everything
Yeah.
else, shut your fucking mouth. Like that's devil magic and demon shit.
With that, I kind of learned to run a business and do stuff for myself, and then building the cupcake. I felt it's kind of like I always hated the 8 to 5, but I worked in TV, so I wasn't very 8 to 5-y anyway. 21 years in TV. So news, commercial production, cameras, floor director. I loved working with the people that I worked with. And I love that you walked in and you were like, ah! It was like chaos, put on the show, boom, it's done. You're done. That's it. You're done. I love that part. I was working the morning show. Like
Jesus.
You have to be there at 3:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
We were there for 9/11.
Oh,
so
shit.
this was everything was live.
Ooh,
It was pretty heavy.
that's a weird day at work.
It was a weird couple days. We stayed there. Of
course.
We stayed at the station,
Oh, yeah.
did shifts, but with that type of work, I got laid off a couple times, depending on who bought the station and things like that, and got rid of the union and blah blah blah. So I had to kind of scramble and start learning how to.
Well, you don't need a union if you're not going to protect your workers.
Yeah,
That's clear.
Yeah. Oh, made sure that happened. It was right after the duopoly thing. Like it's like you weren't allowed to have more than one media company in a market.
Right.
And that got.
Yeah, and now Sinclair is allowed to own every local station.
Yeah. So things have changed since I started. But during that time is when I, had started going to Burning Man and learned how to hula hoop and just like, you know what, fuck it. I'm going to do some other weird shit. And I used to practice in the studio. So that was an interesting transition from news to teaching people how to hula hoop.
Yeah, that's a big life change.
But I made it work. I mean, I lived, as cheaply as I could, had my own place, and was able to pay the mortgage by teaching 3 days a month and selling hoops at different things. So
I miss that Oregon.
it doesn't exist anymore. No. I could never do that again. And it really bums me out. I don't know.
There's some place in need of a hula hoop economy. I'm not sure where it is. I know there are places where financially you could do that in the States. I'm not sure if they're in need of the hula hoop economy.
It's a fun economy, but
Yeah.
I made a lot of friends in that one too, that I'm still friends with. So like I said, it taught me about, marketing. I'm not great at it, but running a website and, making the connections and, it worked until it didn't. And part of it was I moved down here, and down here running a business is really expensive.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, nope.
Breathing is really expensive.
Yeah, I can't. I just gave up on applying for a grant. It was perfect. It was geared toward women and geared toward environmental, messaging. And I have 3 ideas for that, but it's not built. And part of it was, what phase are you in? I'm like, I can't be in any phase because I can't afford to start it.
Design.
Yeah, it's like idea, and here's the picture of my doodle. And then they wanted to know where it was going to be placed. I'm like, I can't tell you that because I don't have a place to put it. So I agonize over this for a month. And then I'm like, know what? I can't because I don't have a place for it. I don't want to make something up. It's like the grant thing. Like, but Burning Man, that's the other thing that, doing this, going to Burning Man with the changing, with the, running my own business and getting confident with just using basic tools. And I've rebuilt my Volkswagen bus engine and now I'm like, what was the other part? What were we talking about? The grant writing. That has helped me a lot because I had an idea and I really have a hard time forming a complete idea. My first big art installation, I laugh when I say that because it took up my whole backyard. But when I put it out on the playa,
Looked tiny.
half my friends couldn't find it. So they're like, we looked and we couldn't see it. But that was the first grant I ever got. It was the first one I ever submitted for. And so that taught me a lot. And then getting 2 more since then, I'm getting better at kind of reading between the lines. And I just kind of like put myself out there for other things that I know I'm probably not qualified for. But somebody from San Francisco said, hey, would you apply for this? I'm like, oh, okay. So I think I'm learning and I'm kind of figuring it out, but it's like, it is exhausting.
Oh, yeah.
Because like when you get a grant and it's not for the whole amount, of course, and you have to do the fundraising and that's all me. In addition to building and trying to recruit volunteers. And then during, COVID, I did build another different version of the cats called the Purr Pods. And that was my first cat group. There was 3 of those, but they purred when you pet them. And they were both way more lights. And there's actually 2 of them at Point San Pablo Harbor. They don't have lights or purring right now, but we'll have to, because they keep moving. We keep moving around the country.
Are they also made out of rings of metal?
Yeah.
It's a nice technique.
Yeah. I got inspired from, do you remember Embrace? The giant wood sculpture of the 2 people hugging each other.
The 2 melted looking heads falling into each other.
Yeah.
It was a slap.
It was huge. I had friends that built one of the hearts in Portland.
Oh, the hearts were beautiful.
Yeah. And I saw photos of it. I'm like, that's how I want to build my cats. So I was able to talk to my friend Andy, Lost Machine Andy, who builds all of Andrea Greenleaf's. He built Queen Cobra for and Bebot. And he walked me through how he did the hearts, which now is a lot easier than how he did it. But that's how I figured it out and did that.
Somebody's always got to do it the hard way first.
Yeah.
The Lost Machine is, to this day, at least my top 5 mutant vehicles. Like, it's so...
Well, I know what it looks like, obviously, but why don't you describe it?
It's vaguely pirate shippy, but it's primarily a giant gear-driven wheel.
It's
like the whole front half of the machine. It's all handmade.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you.
So gorgeous.
Yeah, with a gorgeous mast, flame throwing poofers on the mast. He's amazing.
That's up there with Valerian steel. Absolutely mind-shattering
amount of work and technical skill. Yeah.
Stupid car.
Yeah, there's a lot of goofy shit out there that's really fun and kind of witty and obviously took a lot of effort taking something that already existed and making it into something else. But every once in a while, a craftsman is just like, oh, I'm going to have $250,000 to play with.
Are you talking about Henry's awesome cars? Henry Chang's?
I don't know. What are Henry Chang's awesome cars?
Oh, he makes...
I know stuff, but not things about stuff.
So he makes these... I don't even know how to describe them, but they're also tube steel, but that really giant hot rod future.
I think
with the whirly stuff in the back.
They're beautiful.
Yeah, that's Valerian steel.
I would love
I didn't know that
to
was
talk to that guy.
He's a very nice man.
You would hope that someone that makes something that gorgeous would also have a gorgeous heart. It's not always the case. But when you find an artist who is reflective of their art, it is wonderful. So you obviously are a cat with 2 pairs of ears. I appreciate that.
I do love my kitties. But I've been lucky since living down here. I feel like the Bay Area's got a really good, a very supportive artist community. Or at least I've looked into that, where I've found everyone wants to help everybody else. And just oh, I can't do it, but I know 5 other people that are great. You should talk to them. And people are just I need you to meet this person. And oh my God, you'd love this person. And I feel really fortunate in that.
We should have a meet and greet, Rex.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I think so. We have a lot of people that are in discrete friendship units that don't touch our other friends that we have met friendship-wise and through Burning Man and through the podcast.
Yeah, we should do that at the new Parkway.
Oh, how fun would that be?
That's smart.
That would
Don't
be a
invite all the
blast.
crazies over to the house.
Yeah, they will.
Thank you.
They will rent us the space. If
Done.
if we ask, they'll play Holy Mountain on the screen for us.
Oh, fabulous.
So, what was the first piece that you did out there?
It's called Stardust, and it was a 9-foot diameter, like spaceship looking bench with cylindrical galactic tube, and it had cut out stars and moons and comets and stuff, and that glowed. The bench glowed, and it had like little portal lights that would, were going around, and then it had fiber optics hanging out of the top, and they were end glow. So when you laid on the bench and looked up, you see the little sparklies and stuff, and that was a Stardust. But the idea is, I requested that it was way out in deep playa, and that's also why no one could find it.
That's where the best art is.
I love it out there because it's quieter, it's darker. But the idea was that you would lay back on the bench and look up and see the fiber optics, but then notice the sky, because the sky out there is incredible. So you'd see the stars, and you can kind of and a lot of my stuff is about I was telling you about chaos. It's very chaotic out there, and so it's kind of a place for a little respite, just kind of and chill. And it was really cool because David Best pulled up when I was out there, and he's like, "Who made this?" And I said, "I did." He goes, "Nice job." I'm like, "Oh my God, David Best, my piece." And actually now it's at a friend's house in Grass Valley, because it was in pieces in front of my house. But it made it I brought it to Portland. It was at Maker Faire, so it got to do some stuff. And now it's by my friend's pool up in Grass Valley. So
What year was that?
2018.
I'm pretty sure I have a strong recollection of that. I tried to make some fiber optic art one year. By try to, I mean, me and a bunch of friends bought a bunch of fiber optic and then failed to do anything effective with it at all, because our neighbors the year before had given us a bunch of little AA powered handheld fiber optic little
They're
whips.
fun. Yeah.
I don't remember what this art looks like, but I do have a memory of you telling me this story in Deep Playa and me laughing my ass off. That you guys got some battery powered light tube thingies, and we're just like, this is how we make playa art.
I always notice when someone succeeds where I failed so dramatically.
It was a weird build because I had to, you could buy bundles. I bought spools instead of made my own bundles. I figured out how long they needed to be, how many I needed, and I melted them so they could fit. My husband's the electronic genius of this team. The ideas I have, he says, they're not complicated. It's just that you want to put a bunch of different of all these different things into one thing. So all the lights are, so it's interesting. And so we had to figure out how big, because you can buy kits, but they're really expensive, so you can do the lights in your ceiling and stuff like that. And they have these, I can't remember what they're called, but we made our own. I learned how to melt, to make a nice flat, shiny surface and just put it on an LED. And I experimented with the length, and I had 25 feet, and the tips were super bright.
Nice.
It's amazing. It was really, really cool.
Really cool.
It was really cool. So they were little, I had to figure out how to get them to stay, to arc a little bit. So I use clear tubing, and I use clear hula hoop tape to make the arch. It worked out. I thought it looked really good. I mean, it's probably essentially fallen apart now, but with weather and all that good stuff.
It's ephemeral art. One of the skills of making Burning Man art is making art that just lasts the event.
I'm just happy it made it out there. But it's still working, which is surprising. It gets buried in snow and it's still going.
Wild.
Yeah. And then the next year, 2018, were the Purr Pods. And those were the cats. I had my project manager.
Were those in Deep Playa as well?
Yes, they were out by the Folly.
100% ran into those.
Yeah, and the head maze. So they're out there. And my project manager from the prior year, he just said, he goes, "Okay, so you did this first piece. What are you going to do next?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Well, what are you going to do next?" I'm like, I didn't know you could do that more than once. He says, you can apply for the grant as many times. You can get a grant every year. I'm like, you can? So immediately,
Shit, I want that.
well, yeah. So I hit the ground running. I had 2 ideas before I left the playa. So, and it's funny because where Trust was, there was a little the cat condo. That was one of the ideas I had before the Purr Pods. But I'm like, I think people would probably have already built that. So, but they did it. Like, I couldn't have done it like that. That was gorgeous. That was really cool. And then the Purr Pods were a hit, and I was able to bring 2 of them to Point San Pablo Harbor through We Are From Dust. They were kind of like the first group of people that were placing art from Burning Man in other places, finding homes for them. So that worked out great. And have you been to Point San Pablo Harbor?
Have not.
It's in Richmond, and it's like if you're going over to the San Rafael Bridge, it's the last exit, and you go kind of out and over past Chevron and over a hill, and there's a marina out there. There's a restaurant, and they have music. The Lavec Trola's out there. It's their stage now.
Oh,
wow.
Niloticus from Peter Hazel's out there. Astropod from Michael Christian. To Be or Not to Be from Mr. and Mrs. Ferguson.
Well, let's do our mixer there.
It's an awesome place. Kate Rodenbush has a piece out there. I think hers was the first one.
Wild.
And I have 2 of my Purr Pods are out there. It's amazing place. And it's just weird. It's like, because you're just like, you go through, there's an old naval station, Wine Haven's out there. It was like a winery way back before Prohibition, just brick building.
Oh, shit.
It's really funky out there. And you go up and over this hill, and then there's this gorgeous little community that they've really have put a lot of effort into it. And there's like a goat farm, and it's pretty sweet. So I highly recommend it. Oh, I should mention, I did donate one of the Purr Pods to the American Museum of the House Cat
Nice.
in North Carolina.
That's so cool.
There's a museum there. The funds raised for admission to the museum fund there. Like, you can get your animals fixed for a low cost, and they do a lot of rescues, and it's a no-kill shelter. And Dr. Harold Sims, it was his idea. He reached out to me and said, would you be willing to donate one of your pieces? So it helps them. And I found out that I guess this is happening by now, that they're going to move that cat to downtown Sylva, North Carolina. It's going to be a main thing.
Wow. Nice.
And I haven't been there. That
You should tell them.
Well, now you have that
I need to go see it.
excuse you've been waiting for to get to North Carolina.
I do have friends there. And then I have another cat built. It's in Bristol at the Ashton Court Mansion. So I made another cat that went through the Panama Canal during the pandemic. And
Bristol, England.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. That was also through We Are From Dust. So there's a few art pieces out there from burners.
Now you've got the excuse to go to Bristol, England.
I've been trying.
That is.
That's probably where you go to start that hula hoop economy. I don't know what's going on in England.
There is actually a lot of hoopers in Bristol.
See?
Yeah. So no, they've got it covered. I'm kind of done with that. I just want to go play. I don't want to teach anymore. I just want to play.
Just in case you need to flee the country, we all might one of these days.
Yeah.
I don't think it does any of us any good to flee the country to England.
Whatever way they flip out is going to be much more civilized than whatever way we flip out. And that was Paige.
Yay, Paige.
Yay, Paige. Thank you for talking to us about your cat buttholes. Everyone, please, I don't support Paige. Hey, everyone. Go support Paige. Do it now. I don't have a URL for you. I don't have a direction to point you in. Just
Paige isn't asking for money. Just support Paige.
Do you see those buttholes?
Yeah.
Like, let's this community come together and help Paige make a lot more 8-inch buttholes.
There's probably a way to support Paige. Check the show notes.
I'm not going to.
We know you don't check the show notes.
Check them.
There's no reason for me to put stuff in there. Check 'em. That's not. I mean, some people are joining our Discord. Hey, everyone, continue joining our Discord. We're talking about fun things on there. If you heard the last episode, which wasn't a full episode, it was a burn barrel, but we can get away with that. We haven't done that in a while. If you listened to last episode, we got all of those questions from our Ask Accuracy Third Anything segment from the Discord, where you can hang out with us and we'll show you pictures of our cats.
Accuracy Third is produced by Accuracy Third.
The music in this episode is by Late Bus. Late Bus, thank you for more music. This track is called Beer for Lunch. Another fantastic sound bed and a fantastically titled track by our friend Late Bus.
We are so lucky to have a Late Bus making music for us.
D-Day mentioned in the opening that our Patreons get to hear all of our rambling nonsense discussions with Paige, and most of our rambling nonsense discussions with the rest of our guests that we cut out, so you don't have to listen to them unless you wanna. You can get on there real cheap. It doesn't matter. Support us
For the price of 1/4 of a cup of halfway decent coffee. You can hear me, Paige, and Rex discussing Peter Hudson's new stroboscopic sculpture coming out this year.
Yeah, this is going to be such a cool year for art.
It's not in the episode because the episode was long already. So if you would like to join the Patreon and listen to fully the last 15 to 25 to 35 minutes of our interview with Paige, hop on there and then in a week, send us an email reminding us that we have to send you the link to all of the audio we owe you.
And if you support us for a certain monetary threshold, which D-Day knows and I don't really care, we'll give you a playa name upon asking.
Oh, absolutely. $5 doesn't have to be all at once, can be over the course of 5 months, or 10 doesn't matter to us, but we will provide you with a Burning Man name.
If you are not in the supporting people financially kind of way, and who can blame you? The real way to support us is by helping us make this show. We make this show out of the bricks that are your time at Burning Man made into words. So you give us your word bricks and we'll pile them on top of each other to make a podcast hut.
Shack.
Shack. It is a shack.
Yeah.
Shed.
Is this what it's like for the two of you when I go off and start doing a thing?
No, this was much more focused and deliberate.
I couldn't possibly imagine it's under 2 minutes.
Oh, we're going to have a party at Burning Man. We haven't planned it, nor do we know the location, but it's probably going to be at Sign Shop. So you can meet us
I like it.
at
Nice.
7:30 in the morning at Sign Shop at Burning Man during event week. See you there.
I like throwing our party at Sign Shop, whether they want it or not.
I don't know how much I support this idea. We'll have it somewhere. We promise.
Legally,
You can support us and your good fashion choices at burnernarc.com. Burnernarc.com. It didn't go anywhere. We just forgot to put it on the wall where we remember all of the things we have to say in the outro. Burnernarc.com, where you can dress in things that I've designed so you can look like a cop.
If you want to get a hold of us, accuracy3rd@gmail.com. It's all spelled out. We are sometimes on Blue Sky. We don't really look at other social medias anymore, so don't try and hit us up on Facebook. You'll fail.
Yeah, Blue Sky, or email us about the networking event that we're going to be holding that Beth doesn't know about, but we're going to do it.
I hate this is how you tell me stuff.
Good night, Beth.
Or, give us a call. You can reach Accuracy Third at 785-949-2114. Are there any really killer Burning Man stories you want to share before we wrap up?
I wish I had good ones.
You do have good ones.
I'm sure I do, but the really good one wasn't even mine. Can I tell it anyway?
Oh, absolutely. Sure.
It's my husband's.
Super.
Oh, yeah, then you have power of attorney.
So he was driving his cupcake car, but there was a guy that ran up to him and it's like, oh, cupcake, running after him like, oh my God, my cupcake. And Will's used to people, chasing him. Mm-hmm. People try to take a bite out of you. I've had people climb on mine and they break it and stuff. And this guy comes up and he's like, oh my God, I love your cupcake. And he's very, yeah, whatever. And he's like, I'm TV's Pee Wee Herman. And he goes, oh, yeah, right. And he drives off. So Will drives off. And then one of his friends comes back later and he goes, you'll never believe I was at this place. And it's like David Arquette and Pee Wee Herman was there. And it's like, oh, shit. Like, he totally snubbed Pee Wee Herman.
Wow.
Yeah, that's one for the books.
That's just incredible.
Oh, the other one was we talked our way into the inner circle at Burning Man. My friend was on mushrooms. No, acid. And we talked our way into the inner circle, said we were fire dancers first and worked our way up there. And then we said we were the rope pullers. And then we said we were with the media.
That's the one that gets you in.
And then the guy goes, well, do you have your passes? And she goes, if one more person asked me for my pass. And he goes, oh, no, it's okay. So we sit down with a guy that had a backpack and a big camera. And it's like, is it okay if we sit with you? He goes, yeah, sure. So we sit down and we're like, oh my God, we got in the inner circle. And then we're just like getting ready for, the fire dancers were going. And then Larry Harvey sits down right in front of us. And I'm like,
Nice.
and it was my birthday.
Hey.
My birthday is always at Burning Man. So it was like, that was pretty cool. And then we commandeered an art car and we got to drive it to the duck pond, and that was fun.
That inner circle, it's pretty hot, right?
Yeah, we got in another year when they had the souks, where he had the big fat legs and it didn't burn forever, and we were in the inner circle for that.
Not so hot.
Oh my God, my ass hurts so bad. I'm like, I go, is it rude if I go? Because it's like we were right in front. I'm like, this is kind of boring.
I worked perimeter for that burn, and it was endless.
God.
Oh my God, I bet your knees hurt.
Oh yes, they did.
It's the only burn I've ever walked away from.
I felt like, oh my God, someone, did me a favor. It was because my birthday sometimes lands on burn night. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, this is a really cool thing he did for me, but I kind of want to go.
Yep.
It was like, what, 2-3 hours for that thing to fall?
I'm going to say 4.5 to 5.5. It didn't fall. They knocked it down, didn't they?
Yeah, I think they had to pull it down.
I didn't get to see it because my back was to it. And my section was not the first to break perimeter. And that's my win.
I've been in the inner circle a couple of times, and it's one of those things where like, yeah, I'm cool as shit. I get to see it from the front row. This is rad. I love this. And then it gets on fire, and you're like, I'm gonna die. My skin is melting. Yeah. I'm gonna leave now.
Yeah, my clothes have started making smoke or mist or something. Clothes shouldn't do that.
That's why I like watching it from way back. It's like, if something goes wrong, I'm okay. I thought that was really sweet to be given that opportunity. And then the other time we snuck in and
You know what's funny? I've been closer to the fire on a bunch of occasions. I've rangered for a while. I've done a bunch of perimeters. It's a totally different thing when the fire is at your back than when you're looking at it.
I bet.
When you're looking at it, you can feel your eyebrows singe.
Yeah.
Your back doesn't have that many nerve endings.
No. God, I feel the people that do perimeter are amazing. It's like now it's even more intense.
It is one of the most psychologically intense things I've done out there. I prefer not to do it again.
This year was kind of special with the temple because my friend's husband came back out and we really did a really wonderful piece in the temple. Mm-hmm. And because the Burning Man was technically over when the temple burned, we drove out from Trust in our Volkswagen buses and just parked up and just walked right up, and we knew what section she was in, her pictures and stuff.
Right.
And just sat together. But it was really because our buses were right behind us. It was like, it was surreal to drive. Like, we're driving to the temple. It seems really strange. Like,
closest I've been to a temple burn in like the better part of a decade.
These were very special burns.
It was a beautiful temple. Mm-hmm. I really love that one.
I'm really looking forward to this year's too.
Yeah, me too.
So
me
cool
too.
looking.
Oh, I got invited to design the man base.
Oh,
wow.
Obviously, I didn't make it, but Jen's design and my design were really close. So I feel like, yay! Like I'm on par with kind of like her brain.
Mm-hmm. Great.
I mean, obviously her design was way better, but it was like we had similar ideas. So that was a neat opportunity too. That
I really like her design. It's so beautifully minimalist.
Yeah, mine was more. The ramps that came off looked more like question marks. Oh. Whereas hers are different levels, which I love. Mm-hmm. But yeah, go back and look and you'll see like our designs are.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that, but I've had some really neat opportunities this year, I think, because of Trust and the Purr Pods, because
you're killing it.
Yeah.
I have weird ideas.
Thank you for sharing your weird ideas with the community.
I'm all about it. Cat butts. Woohoo.